Villains come in all shapes and sizes, from Darth Vader in Star Wars to Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. So how can we roleplay a variety of villains effectively as dungeon masters? In this video, I'll be going over 3 elements that make a villain. And by the end of the video, I'll be talking about some role-playing tips that I use for different styles and different types of villains. The first type I would like to focus on is the big bad versus the subtle foe. Every villain kind of falls into one of these 2 categories. Either they're the big bad, right? They're this menacing, ominous, looming force, or they're a subtle foe. They're working in the background, and the players might not really notice that they're there. The next set of elements is front and center or behind the scenes. A villain that's front and center is one that is obviously seen to the players. It's somebody who is showing up fairly consistently. Strahd von Zarovich in Curse of Strahd, who shows up and torments the players more often than not, is a great example of this. He's a character who is front and center. They're always having to interact with him. The man who's behind the scenes is the type of character that's just there. You never see them. You never interact with them, not until the very end. It's usually a character that's conniving and cunning. They're off screen. They're doing things and whatever it is that they're doing without the players being aware of it. Palpatine, right? Darth Sidious, who's constantly interacting with things behind the scenes to make things go forward. When you're writing your big bad and you're writing a character who is a man behind the scenes, usually this is somebody that the players won't interact with for a long time, but they'll see a lot of his handiwork, right? They'll see the king get assassinated. They'll see the princess being captured. They'll see the water well being poisoned. And so they have to figure out who the bad guy is as they're going about their adventure. When I think of front and center, I think of the character who is just always present. He is tormenting the players. He's showing up, he's insulting them, he's laughing at them, he's mocking at them. He's the type of character that the players see a lot and have a growing disdain for who he is as a person. This type of villain works really well in games like Masks, where you have a variety of teenagers who are constantly undergoing emotional stress and having their personalities shift and evolve as you play the game. And so a villain who keeps showing up and is constantly trying to tamper with the character's self-identity works really well for that setting. It doesn't have to be. You can use a villain like this in Dungeons & Dragons as well, but it's the setting I think of when I'm thinking of that type of villain. And finally, we have to decide whether or not this is a recurring villain or a one-off villain. Something of note, when you are writing a villain with the intention of it being a recurring villain, try to make sure that what you're writing isn't going to feel bad for the players. I found that it's very easy to create a recurring villain that feels bad. Not menacing, not evil, not annoying or frustrating, just feels bad to interact with. If every single time your players interact with the villain, it's a boss fight that they're guaranteed to lose, that doesn't feel good. Personally, I like to make sure that I'm giving my players in the moment the benefit of the doubt. To that end, if the players do something incredibly intelligent and outsmart both me and the villain, I'm happy to give it to them, because then it feels great, right? Like they worked hard, they came up with some intelligent scheme, or they outsmarted me and have defeated the villain. I don't mind giving the players that. I will usually in those situations try to roleplay as the villain who's now asking, right? Because he doesn't want to die, he doesn't want to lose, so he's going to attempt to roleplay his way out of the situation as well, just talking himself out, which leads very well into my next topic, role-playing villains. There's nothing quite as satisfying as role-playing a villain, at least for me. You get to really just be menacing and mean and vile and cruel to the players for no reason other than that they've chosen to be here and sitting at your table, which is a blast. I really enjoy it. And of course, obviously, towards the end, you get to watch the players, hopefully, outsmart the villain and save the day. First thing I can recommend is determine who your villain is. Give your villain a goal. It could be something very simple. This could just be that they want to be the next in line for the throne, and so they have to eliminate the person in front of them. It could be more complex. They could be trying to create this magical trap that'll destroy the souls of every single person inside of a specific city. But give them a goal. Once you, as the DM, know what their goal is, anytime you roleplay with the players, keep that goal in mind, because every action that they take, every word that they say has to be reflective of moving that specific goal forward. When you roleplay an NPC from this perspective, when you roleplay a villain specifically from this perspective, and you roleplay them intelligently, they become a lot more menacing to players, because now the players see that they're striving for something, they're gunning for something. It's very different role-playing a villain who's attempting to complete or accomplish a goal, as opposed to attempting to role-play a villain who's just, I'm a mindless goblin and I'm just here to try and stop you for a little bit. Oh, you killed me, oh, I'm dead, oh. You know, it's a very different experience. Goblins are fun. They're fun to play, they're enjoyable to experience and roleplay as, but they lack the villainous nuance of like your big bad. Then I'd like to keep in mind their personality. Who are they? How do they interact? Are they cocky and arrogant, or are they cautious and patient? Building a bit of a character profile, right? Their goal, their personality. I like to have a little bit of a backstory for my characters. You don't have to write pages and pages. We don't need a book, but having a little bit of knowledge of who they are, how they became a villain. What motivates your villain? Why does he feel like he has to become the next in line? Why does he feel like he has to destroy a city's worth of souls, right? What is the motivating factor? Is there an underlying hate for the king that stems from somewhere specific, or is it just that he has a greedy heart and is constantly wanting more? These sorts of things help you, when it comes to role-playing with players, and even making the next actions, understand who your villain is. Something that I try to avoid personally is overly scripting out what the villain is doing. It's easy to do. You know, you're like, well, first the players are going to find out the DM has kidnapped the princess, then the players are going to go and try to rescue the princess, and then the players are going to go and fight the big bad in his lair. Bing, bang, boom. And you're like, okay, well, that's pretty simple. But players do things. Players shift the story around themselves. That's the nature of playing with people, with other people. And it's important to acknowledge that as a villain and as a game master, you need to be thinking about how the villain would shift gears, how he would adjust his own steps once the players start making moves. Because ultimately, this is a big pond, and every single time a player does something, he's throwing a little pebble into there, and there's a ripple that follows out. And depending upon what the players do, a bigger or smaller ripple will occur. And you then need to make the proper adjustments. Now, hey, maybe they killed the princess. Now there's no leverage for the villain. Now he needs to make adjustments, right? Now maybe he feels like, wow, they were the bad guys. I'm just trying to do something. I wasn't even gonna kill her, and look at what you did. So I think that's important to acknowledge. So let's recap. You want to play a villain. You've got to analyze and determine exactly how you want to portray this villain. Are they a recurring villain? Are they the big bad? Are they going to be behind the scenes, right? You've got to think about these elements. Once you've combined those, now it's determining what their personality is like and what their goals are. And as soon as you've found these 5 elements, now you're ready to start role-playing the character. And there's more that you can do, but for now, I think acknowledging that these steps are going to be very helpful for you. You can make a backstory, you can find an accent to play as the character. There is quite a lot you can do in the behind the scenes, but especially if you're new at this, don't feel like you have to do too much. Focus on building the villain and then drafting whatever his goals are. Look, at the end of the day, we've gone over a lot that you can do. I think the best thing that I can recommend and that I can encourage you to do is to make sure that your villain is reacting to the players, that you are responding to what the players are doing. A villain who responds to player actions makes the players feel as though they have agency in the story. And that goes a very long way. It goes a long way in making a villain that feels real. And to be quite frank, it has given me a lot of really great villainous moments that would have never happened if I had just gone along with the things that I had planned. Learning to adapt is the best way you can portray a villain. Hey, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video and the content. What type of villain are you planning on playing next? I'd love to know. Go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to keep on role-playing.